And I on my way myself.
There's a sheriff.
Guys.
There you go.
You got the YouTube up and
Yes.
Okay. This is the Central Board of Architectural Review hearing for, gosh, the 9th of February, 2024. So we'll call that to order. Do we have any members of the public who wish to address the board regarding an item that is not on today's agenda?
We do not have any public comments.
We don't even have
Anybody online?
we don't have anybody. Do we have an applicant?
Yes, we do.
Okay, you might want to minimize that.
Let's start. The halls.
Okay, then the status report?
One minor change is that for item number 1, on the description, up towards the bottom, it says in the solving area.
Yeah. That.
But I had already sent out the agenda, so, right.
Okay. Yeah, I looked at that, I looked at the address and I went, I don't think so. Okay, I would make a motion to approve the agenda status report, can I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Clark, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the minutes, January 12th, 2024. I don't think I saw anything on there. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
And Alan seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, anybody else abstaining? Good, good, abstention.
I abstain too.
Okay. Informational briefings. I'm sure there was something I was supposed to tell you guys, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, just a gentle reminder, your Form 700s are due April 3rd. Joy, joy. Also, I don't know if everybody's on the same schedule. You're every 2 years, help me out here, you know what I'm talking about, the training, the thing you have to get your certificate for, to do 2 hours. Yes, like Brown Act and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. So just make sure you're on the same schedule.
Yeah,
I think most of us are not due this year.
no.
No, the last year.
Okay,
Yes.
but double check with David if you're not sure. Okay, all right, that's the only thing I have. Any recusals today? Doesn't look like it. Staff update, Nicole.
Good morning. Yeah, just a couple of items that are coming up at the Planning Commission on February 14th. So next week, the Ag Enterprise Ordinance is going to the Planning Commission. So that might be of interest to folks here. And then on February 28th, at the county PC, there's the appeal of the El Capitan Canyon campground areas F1 and F2 design review. And that also on that same day, for general interest is the 2023 Comprehensive Plan Annual Progress Report. So that's all I have.
Okay. All right, I see we have somebody online. It looks like, Mr. Roy's online. Standard agenda, item 1, 24 bar 00008. Did we finally get that hiccup?
Yes, we did.
Oh,
I
no more O's. 1060 Faraday LLC new hotel. I don't think Soren's here today, but, we got his email or his, memo. So, yeah. So, Mr. White, would you like to, I could be wrong. Lonnie could be male or female, so I'm sorry about my choice of how it is there. Lonnie Roy, would you like to, make your presentation? After your presentation, we'll go ahead and, we may ask for questions of clarification from the board. And then we'll move to public comment, and then we will, come back to the board for our deliberations. Are you prepared?
Yes, thank you so much. So my name is Lonnie Roy. I am the agent for the property owner. So the property, which I believe is just south of where you're at, is 1060 Faraday Street. It is currently developed with a single 2-story commercial structure, approximately 3,000 square feet, a parking lot in front of that. And then there is a cell tower that kind of has this water tower looking feature at the rear, and it's kind of in this fenced off area. So the property is proposed to be redeveloped into a 10-room boutique hotel. So yeah, thank you for pulling up the site plan. So the existing building at the south of the site there will be remodeled into a 4-room hotel, so 2 rooms on each floor. And there's a little shed sort of portion of the building that will be used as a office and kind of housekeeping closet. And then we are proposing a new 2-story structure designed in the kind of Western Victorian vernacular that's present in Santa Ynez, in kind of a saloonish looking building. And that will have a lobby and 6 hotel rooms, so 3 rooms on each floor. There is a 11 space parking lot kind of in between the 2 buildings, and part of what's sort of driving that is the easements and the access that's needed for the cell tower and cell infrastructure that's at the rear of the property there. And then the remainder of the site is circulation and drive, circulation landscape. There's a little fire pit area north of the cell tower. Yep, that's being circled there. So we can thumb through to the floor plans. I believe we want to go to sheet A 2.1. So this is the floor plans of the new proposed building. So you enter at the corner there, which that is sort of facing the parking lot area. And that's a 2-story volume lobby space, 3 rooms on each floor. And it has a veranda element that wraps it on 3 sides. Go to the next page. Continue going. We'll just go to the elevations, which should be a 6.1. Yeah. So I would preface the elevations for this one and the existing structure by saying we're not necessarily particularly happy with kind of the colors at this point. So we would appreciate any feedback that you would have on that. But the intent is, yeah, for this to kind of be a saloon-ish looking building. with the veranda wraps around on the second floor. That walkway would be used as decks for the hotels. So we can move on to the floor plans of the existing building, which is BA 2.1.
Right, so those little triangles that we're seeing, those are not actually any kind of a roof structure, they're just kind of a pediment?
Correct, yeah, so they're just parapet, essentially elements.
Okay,
Yeah, it's essentially a flat roof, so it's just parapeted. So those can be modified. Yeah, so floor plan of the existing structure. So we're proposing to do 2 rooms on each floor. On the ground floor, you can see one of the units is kind of a shared room space. So it's kind of for larger groups or families that have children and want a separate room for parents and adults. And then we have the lobby and kind of office space. That is at a slightly higher elevation. There's about a 3.5 or 4 foot elevation change on the site. So currently that's at a higher elevation and the hotel rooms are at a lower elevation. Next page. And then 2 larger rooms on the upper floor. And we can move on to the elevations. Next page, next page, next page.
so here's the elevation.
So yeah, so this is the existing, so this is the proposed, and the idea, again, this one isn't represented, we're not particularly happy with how it's represented right now, but the idea is this to kind of look like a barn, so we want to do a weathered barnwood siding on it. The color's not correct, we really want it to be a darker brown with some blacks kind of in it. So the idea is this to kind of look like a barn and the other structure to look more like a saloon. So that's the design intent on this one. And going to the last page, the landscape sheet. So the design intent here is to really have it kind of be a western or a deserty scape type landscape. So that's sort of the plant material that's being here, a lot more succulents or grasses, those types of plant materials. And the parking lot is proposed primarily to be gravel to fit with that aesthetic, and just having the parking space and the walkways for accessibility purposes be a concrete. It would be a colored concrete with a acid etch type finish to make it kind of look like DG, but be more durable. And that pretty much concludes my presentation. So we appreciate any of your feedback at this time on the project and look forward to working with you.
Do you want to talk about any of the site photos or anything else that was submitted?
I mean, we can walk through the site photos. I mean, since it's right next to you, I'm sure you're familiar with it, at least contextually. So I don't know if it's necessary. But
Well,
yeah, you can see on the aerial, it's a little dated, but you can see currently the south, it's designed with that existing structure, the cell tower feature at the rear, and that aerial photo is a little old. The prior owner had a lot of storage sheds and containers on the north portion of the lot, and now it's just open field for the most part, with the exception of one small shed and a concrete parking lot. So we can just scroll through the photos if you guys think it's needed. Yeah, so that's looking at the site. Building across the street, it's south elevation. Further looking down. So that's the existing structure and the existing parking lot that's on site. You can see the existing retaining wall there, or there's a little bit of grade change in that office structure that's tacked on the north elevation of the building is at that slightly higher elevation. And the water tower cell feature at the rear there. So that's the existing structure looking to the south, which you can see from the highway. So the idea is to kind of extend that property line wall a little bit further and kind of add some facade to it to have it appear as a barn structure more so than in its current shape. So those parapet walls that are extended above the roof line would be trimmed back down a little bit. And the wall would be extended out towards Faraday a little bit more. Structure across the street from Faraday. So this is the existing easement or access back to the cell portion.
And you would be retaining those fences? The ones around-
No, so yeah, so the fences, well, yeah, the fences around the cell portion, yes, those would remain. The fences you're seeing on either side of the drive aisle, those would go away, and the property line fences would be reconstructed as well. So this is the north portion of the lot that's currently more or less undeveloped.
Okay.
And so that's the kind of shed portion that would be reconstructed to some extent and converted to more of the hotel operations office.
Very good. All right, Court, do you have any questions for the applicant?
What's the total square footage of the landscape area?
Let's see if we have that readily available on here. Don't have that off the top of my head here.
Okay,
Okay, if you could have that available the next time, that'd be great. And
Yeah,
what is
let me pull up the hydro report real quick. It should be in there.
go ahead, Glenn.
what is the width of the verandas? On the buildings?
Yeah, they
Yes.
vary. They are. So 7 feet on the front and rear, and 5 feet on the side that faces the parking lot for the proposed structure.
Okay, and, can you, so the easement is just that gray band on the west?
The west. I think he was talking about this easement here.
Yeah, correct. So that's the access easement, and then the dash line that kind of curves down south, that's a utility easement that also goes to the cell site.
Okay. And then, could you explain that grade change where
Yes.
that shed is? Like, how does that work with the hotel
In the parking lot.
in the parking lot?
Yeah, so the parking lot is essentially going to be higher than that building B. So in those current photos where you're seeing that current kind of dirt drive aisle that goes back towards the cell site, that parking lot would essentially replicate that elevation. So that's why you're seeing a set of stairs that go down from the office at the north portion of that existing building B. And then the front walkways that you're seeing closer to Faraday, those would be more, they wouldn't be ramps, but that would be kind of the accessible routing on the site over to building B.
Okay,
I don't think, well, that's to be taken up with ADA.
that's it.
Okay. Yes, Chris?
This building is prominent from the highway. I didn't see a elevation from that point of view, or did I miss?
Yeah, there was one.
That would be the southeast.
That'd be from which are you looking from? Or are you looking for the one from Faraday?
The highway. Yes,
It
the
is
Southeast.
southeast corner. I would like to see something
Yes.
that incorporated the building as perhaps an overlay on a photo for next time. That would be
Okay.
important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the north and south elevations are incorrectly noted here. So the south elevation is actually the north, and the north elevation is actually the south. So what's noted on there is north. That's really what you would see from the highway.
So yeah, incorporate that into like a photo would be great.
Yeah, photo perspective.
Hi.
Got it.
Another question.
Yes,
So, Lonnie, on the east elevation, are you removing windows? Is that what I saw? From the,
So we are on the east elevation, which is the Faraday elevation. We are reconstructing the stairway. So that is what you're seeing there, that kind of wall element that does come out further, where I was speaking to that property line wall kind of extends further out to get more of that barn type silhouette from the highway. So you kind of enter in a semi-enclosed area, and then that stairwell is reconstructed. But the balcony that's kind of inset on that second floor, that remains. And then on the west elevation, that current deck structure's in relatively poor shape and needs to be reconstructed. So that would be reconstructed in more or less its existing kind of footprint.
okay, no, well, it looks like if you go up to the existing, east elevation, I think I'm confused, but it looks like there's windows existing and now the curtains are gone on the east elevation, so I was just curious if you're removing windows.
Yeah. So that facade will kind of be redeveloped a little bit. Correct.
Okay,
That is correct.
okay, and then,
And real quickly, sorry, stepping back, the landscape area is 2,528 square feet.
could you go back to the site plan real quick?
you want the site plan or landscape? plan?
The landscape plan, I guess, yeah, thank you. And then I was just curious that, what is the width of the planter, next to building, as it goes into focus?
Between the parking and A.
Yeah. And then the other question is maybe just maybe a zoning question. Are trees required in the parking lot? Usually, or maybe Nicole, that's a question for you. So my question is, what is the depth of that planting area? And then my other question are trees required in the parking lot?
Which planter, the one between the parking lot and the sidewalk, or between the parking lot and the building? Oh, between building A there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nominal. I mean, it's 9 inches.
With footing blowout, that's nothing.
And I'm sorry, so when you drive in, with the existing building? Oh, I see, so you go to the front door on the existing building, I guess I'm not sure how you get.
So Denise, you're talking about, you drive in here,
Uh-huh,
you park,
uh-huh,
you walk, this is at the same level. Correct me when I go wrong, okay?
and then
This
that's,
is the same level, so you go into the office.
okay,
When
good,
you get your key, you come down the steps and in here,
okay,
okay?
got it,
If
Correct.
you are needing an accessible path, you have to go all the way down.
okay.
That's the accessible path.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So, and then to access this building, you walk around the ends.
In gravel,
And this is the office here in this building.
okay, okay, thank you.
Does that answer the question?
Uh-huh.
Any more? Anybody else? Okay, let's call for public comment.
We do not have any public comment. We don't have any bidding on it.
Because there's nobody here, but. All right, who wants to start?
That was pretty good, what we're
Anybody wanna jump in?
Sure.
Okay, Denise, go for it.
So, I know you need a permeable, parking lot, and I'm thinking that a gravel parking lot is gonna be not work that well with rolling suitcases and ADA. So maybe consider another permeable surface that's, that can meet your, water retention needs. And, I'm just, curious about that planting area and the fact that that south elevation is going to be blistering hot. And there's no relief or shade in that space where the parking is. And then it might be something, to consider to enhance how you get to the entrance. I guess from plan view, it's not that easy, and your elevations look really nice. It's easier to find, the entrance, if you figure out a way to make it a little bit clearer. And that was it.
Oh, sure.
Sorry to interrupt, this is Nicole. I don't know if I caught everything about the shade, the second comment.
Yeah.
She didn't
Do you
catch
want-
it,
do you wanna
Denise, you need to
repeat
speak
it?
loudly.
She couldn't hear it.
Oh, okay. There's no shade in the parking lot.
Hence her question about the zoning requirement for trees in the parking lot.
That was my question too. I had that question.
Yeah.
Just to start with the landscape, I think, although I appreciate all of those plans, I think it's maybe a little too, distant from the type of architecture and the actual vegetation of the valley. And it seems a little low desert to me. Not that you couldn't have some succulents and things, but also given the very small amount of landscaping for what is a hotel experience, that seems, I'd like to have the designer or architect revisit those choices. And then, is there something that precludes having trees in those islands, on the west that would also help shade the parking lot? Is there a height or canopy restriction?
There's a tree up here.
Yeah, there's one tree up there, but I was just wondering why there are no trees in
And
this,
the rest of the frontage.
and the rest of the frontage. And then I don't know in terms of zoning, if this could be considered, but not necessarily a metal roof or something, but some kind of shade structure, possibly over the parking to the south, that would at least cast shade on part of the parking lot and start breaking those things down. And now I think you should revisit the colors, and I do think there are issues with the circulation and ADA requirements and just a general, kind of exciting, outdoor experience that mirrors probably what they're going after in the interiors. And I think there are better color choices than what was shown, and I think there's kind of a weird connection where the veranda meets flush with the barn elevation. It's kind of like, okay, on this side, and to Chris's point, viewing that from the corner, like you're kind of looking at a barn and then, wow, now I'm looking at a totally different building. And so somehow I think you have to integrate those two things and make up your mind what it's gonna be. I mean, I agree the existing parapet can definitely go, but I don't think one has to be quite so literal in the interpretation of a new elevation. That's it.
Well. Okay, all right, this is, when I opened this up, I was very excited, because this is, and it's an interesting concept for this location. But I would echo many of the comments that have already been made, regarding, just your site layout. I think you've got some issues there. Some of the surfacing choices, especially with all the concrete. You know, I appreciate that you're trying to create these pockets of experience, and that's excellent. But, the interactions for how those pathways, your accessibility, and then the creation of these teeny tiny little planters. I know you're trying to do this, but, for example, between building A and the fence around the cell, site, you'd be better off to push the sidewalk against the one or the other and maximize your planting area. I mean, there's some moves you can make, because quite frankly, you know, you pour the footing for that building A, and that little 9-inch, that's not gonna be there. You're gonna have subgrade blowout on the foundation, and there's not gonna be anything there. You're gonna have 4 inches of dirt. You know, it's a waste. Nothing's really gonna grow in there. It's a little too early to get into plant selection, but as an overall theme, I would echo Puck's comment that this is a little, what do you say, low desert?
Low desert.
Yeah, so you kind of, I think you could key into what's happening in San Ynez and, as far as the landscapes and, the greater valley, and still maintain your low water use plants. I personally wouldn't like, circulating on some of those paths with the agave poking out and catching my luggage, but that's me. Other people may find that acceptable, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So I think you've got some things, and that grade change is gonna be a real challenge, for your accessibility. As far as architecture, I would tend to agree. I think you need to work a little bit on your color choices. You want to scroll to the elevations. And the building, I look at the west elevation on the existing building, and I like that west elevation. The east elevation looks a little stark and unwelcoming to me. It looks like the back. It looks like they're juxtaposed. And so I don't know, from the guest experience, what you're looking for, but it just seems like, there could be something else going on that facade that would, I don't know, more in keeping with the west elevation and welcoming. I also agree with previous comments about, you've got a sudden switch to a bar on the south side. I think you could carry it off with the Victorian. There's nothing that says you couldn't do that. And even potentially keep the mural. I think that's an interesting idea. But, all four sides of the building need to be within the same kind of style, design style. Can you scroll up to the building A? Oh. So this is B, building A was first, further up in the set. She's doing that. I have, an issue with, what you're doing with or not doing with the fencing around the cell site. You need to more successfully, can I have the elevations for that? I think you went too far. Yeah. I should be right there, so. Yeah, there you go. Keep going. No, I want the elevations. Down a little more. Right there.
Yeah.
Well, next one.
It just,
Go. One more. That's it.
It just takes a while.
Yeah, there you go. Those little peaks, I mean, we can argue style and everything, and I think it'll sort itself out as you move along and further develop your design and the two buildings, the discussion between the two buildings stylistically, because obviously you're trying to make them kind of the same. I would note that your little parapets are shown on the east elevation, but not on the north. Because you've got them on all four sides and they're missing in that elevation. Yeah, right there. So yeah, just kind of watch the consistency and a little context. I like the background, that's great. But if we could actually see, the site context of, where is that car? I mean, 9 inches off of that, coming towards us, you've got the cars right there. So I think you do yourself a favor if you showed us some context and the fencing on the other side, which obviously it looks like you're proposing between the building we're in, the site we're in, and the parking lot we're associated with in this building versus the one next door, your project. So just a little more context on the elevations. And thank you for making nice, clear, large font sizes so that when we're looking at them on these little tiny screens, we can read the elevations and the heights and everything. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So many people don't do that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. I think it'll start to sort itself out as you move through the process a little bit more. So, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your comments. We really appreciate it.
No worries. You guys didn't have anything else to do?
No, I concur with what you're saying, so you touched all the points that I was thinking and more.
Okay, well, I think that's our only item to do. Nicole, you want to share your screen and we'll do the minutes?
I just have a quick question. When
Yes.
is their stormwater management plan?
When or what? Can we help you?
There's a meeting here today.
We're the Central Board of Architectural Review.
Yeah, I'm here in support of a project.
Well, we only have one and we just finished with it, so,
I thought it was supposed to start at 10 o'clock.
9.
I was told 10.
Well,
Was that in St. George here?
And St. Charles?
No,
That project, what is the address of the project that you're discussing? I'm not sure, there's one right on land here.
Yeah.
right here. Yeah, no, it's, this is the Faraday LLC new hotel.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we just, reviewed the drawings and everything. Did you want to just register your support as a, public
Yes.
comment?
Yes.
All right,
Yes, they're right here.
so if you could, just really quickly fill out that slip.
Yeah, it was, I would call it, start, yeah.
No, we start at 9. Well, we try to start at 9.
So what was the,
It's just a review, we don't take any action today. Do you want to put the plan back there so he can see it? Yeah, so that's one of the, so this is, go, scroll to the, yeah. Yeah, you missed that, well, that was this one? Nope, that one, right there. Give it a second to sort out, internet's slow.
so can I ask what the comments were, or what?
We were just about to do the minutes. The way the process works is the applicant makes a presentation. We sometimes ask questions for clarification, then we open it for public comment, which is actually closed. Okay, since we only have the one item, I'm willing to open public comment again and let you have to speak if you'd like to. But actually, public comment has closed on this item already because we went through it. So we went through that, we did the public comment, and then it comes to the board, and the board makes our comments. And we've done that, we've gone through that process, and we were just about to go through those comments, for the minutes.
Is it something I can sit and listen to?
Absolutely, it's the public hearing, you're more than welcome to do that. Would you like to register your support officially though?
Yes.
Okay, can we fill that out? Well, you can fill it out later, you
Yeah,
can just
before you
step
leave
up
this.
here and, give us your name and anything. This board doesn't look at land use issues, we don't look at traffic, we don't look at lots of things.
Just the architectural?
We look at site planning, we look at the architecture, we look at, some landscaping view, we look at all those kinds of things, like we had a very broad ranging discussion today.
All right,
So-
Bethany, I think we need to move on. Can I share my screen?
Just a second. So go ahead and, if you can, within about a minute, if you can just go ahead very quickly, say, I support this project, and then.
And then fill this out and get out of your hair. Well, I'm Dave Denny. I own the building down the street at 3569 Saganto. Built, I think, in the tradition of what the valley's all about with the cowboy heritage, and I'm pretty sure that this building would follow along the same lines.
Okay.
And in that regards, I put my full support behind the
Okay.
project.
All right,
Done
Thank
in
you.
less than 30 seconds.
very good. Just fill that out and hand it to this lady here, and you're welcome to stay. All right, Nicole, take it away.
I need a screen sharing permission from
She's
whomever.
working on it. She's working on it.
This is agenda item number 1.
Yep.
Dated the 9th.
Yes, it is.
So I have the minutes up. These are all of them, and I highlighted ones that I think I need some assistance with.
Okay. My comment